Good morning. This has been a very, very wet May so far. I believe the end of April was pretty wet. I'm getting pretty frustrated at the weather, which does me zero good. Absolutely nothing I can do about the weather. They always say April showers bring May flowers. Well, what do May showers bring? At least the ground is finally greening up. It's so wet that I haven't been able to mow. I think next week is supposed to be somewhat dry. I hope that the weekend that we do our yard sale will be dry as well. With any luck, we'll have, a couple good dry days for that. Which I guess brings me to why I'm doing a drive and chat video. Which is because the weekends have been pretty crappy, so I haven't really had much of a chance to sit on my porch and relax and then get a full day in doing stuff. I'm beginning to get overwhelmed because I have so much stuff to do around the house. I've got cleaning and preparing to do the yard sale. Gardening, I want to really make sure that I get on and not get my gardening stuff late. I definitely don't want to be late with the garden, which I guess late is a relative term, I guess, because we could also get cold weather later in the season too, so that wouldn't help me out. The weather is always variable. So I haven't been getting very good germination on very many of my plants, which is disappointing me. So I've resorted to what's called the paper towel method, where you put your seeds in between damp paper towels and then let them sit somewhere that's somewhat warm, and you can set them back. You don't want to set them like directly in a window, but you can set them back from a window where they will sprout and germinate. And then once they start sprouting, you take them out of the paper towel and you put them in the pot or the soil or whatever you're going to use to give them nutrition. So I'm trying that. I am very unimpressed with the germination rate that I got on a lot of my peppers and a lot of my tomatoes. And I'm coming to a point where the peppers are going to be pretty behind if I don't do something pretty quick. So I do have quite a few peppers. I started 4, I think, of each variety of pepper that I have, and I've got like 9 varieties of pepper. And only, say, 1 or 2 of my peppers have sprouted in most cases. So I'm trying again, and I'm somehow going to have to speed them up so that I will get a good harvest off of them. I've got some worm castings, which are a really good compost, so I will hopefully help out whatever's behind with the worm castings. We're pretty much coming up on our last frost date here, which I think is around May. It's supposed to be around May 11th. I don't think we've had a cold temperature since the beginning of May. It hasn't been It hasn't been, there hasn't been any frost temperatures since the very end of April or the beginning of May. It was right around the very first week where it transitioned from April to May. And I don't see any temperatures down into the 30s in the future forecast. That's something you want to watch if you're growing a garden. If we do get temperatures that are around getting close into the 30s, I'll have to cover some of my plants. Right now, all I have outside is stuff that is cold tolerant. I did put a lemon balm plant out. That went out prior to us getting the cold temperature, and it did die back some, but it sprung back during the day. It doesn't look as nice as it did when I set it outside. It's got some brown parts on the leaves, but it didn't completely die off. So I thought that was good. That was the only plant that I noticed that really had problems when it got cold. So everything else that's outside is pretty good, but I've got some tomatoes that the ones that sprouted are beginning to look really good, and I can't say that they should go out yet because, well, geez, it's May though. Yeah, it's May, and I try to put them out around Memorial Day weekend or slightly before. A lot of times we have nice warm weather where it's in the 70s and 80s during the day, and we have not really gotten that this year. So my overwhelm has to do with all of that stuff, the weather, the seeds not sprouting very well. I have to get my gardens ready. I have started working on my in-ground garden, which essentially I found a place and I fenced it off, and I started putting down some cardboard as a weed barrier. So I've got that fenced off. I have a polywire fence it's a netting, an electric netting. So I can plug my electric fencer into that. I don't have enough cardboard to cover the ground in it, but I think what I need to get going pretty quick here is a heavy layer of mulch so that I can start things out there. The things that I'm going to start in my in-ground garden are going to be corn. I've got some okra seeds that are beginning to sprout. I've got potatoes, not very many. I hope that I get some potatoes this year. I am hoping for amaranth, quinoa, and sunflowers. And in the in-ground space, I want to try to do a variety of other flowers and things like that. I've got calendula that I want to start, and I'm hoping that I'll get some comfrey started. I don't think I want to put the comfrey in that bed because it's a perennial. I have another bed under a tree that I want to put that in. So I haven't really gotten a lot of progress on the in-ground garden. I do have to bring a bunch of hay up there. I do have that huge round bale, actually the round bale and a half that I have. I need to start getting my other raised beds ready for the plants that are going to go in those. As I mentioned, I've got stuff for the yard sale that I've got to get going. I'm continually cleaning and organizing the area. I'm continually generating garbage and finding garbage that needs to go to the dump. I have to mow the lawn. I've got a nice large lawn I got to mow. The weather is really hindering me going out and foraging. I really like to go out and forage for things this time of year. I very much like to look into medicinal plants and foraging for those. I have a lot that grow on the lawn, but this time of year there aren't too many. I think I'll probably do a quick mowing on my lawn, the front lawn, and then I'll probably leave it for a while. I did that last year. My front lawn has a ton of self-heal that grows on it, and also a lot of plantain. The plantain kind of grows bigger in the woods, but they're more sporadic in the woods than they are on the front yard. So I'm gonna let those grow up a little bit so that I can harvest some of those. It's also beginning to be time to get stinging nettle. I've got to go check where I dig the dirt for my raised beds. There is a ton of stinging nettle that grows up in that area, and I really want to harvest a lot of it this year. It's almost like an entire field of stinging nettle growing. And stinging nettle has so many good benefits. It's so good to eat. It is so nutritious. And if you haven't ever tried stinging nettle, if you cut it when it's pretty young, it has a similar flavor and texture to spinach. It's more hearty when you cook it down than spinach is. As far as spinach gets very limp, the stinging nettle doesn't get quite as limp, so it has a better texture, but when you steam it, it doesn't sting anymore. So I wouldn't recommend eating stinging nettle raw, and I use gloves. Hopefully I'll be able to take you guys along when I harvest some stinging nettle. But I'm very excited to go out and get stinging nettle, hopefully very, very soon. Think about what else I want to get going on. There's so many things that I want to do, and it's kind of rough for me this time of year because I don't want to be at work. Which, I mean, who wants to be at work? I have so many things that I could and want to do around the house. And the problem with a lot of the rain that we've been getting is that if there's a break in the rain, it'll be during the day when I'm at work, and then when I get home, it'll start raining again, and it's highly annoying. There hasn't really been good opportunities to make some good video content recently, unfortunately. I apologize for that. And I guess you guys get to listen to me just randomly chat about stuff while I go to work in the rain, with the rain beating down on the windshield, and it's going to be allegedly like that the whole day. So I guess I'll wrap up this video. I'm hoping that this weekend we'll have some nice weather and I can do some good stuff outside. We shall see. Hopefully I'll be able to get some good video footage of what I'm doing and stuff that's interesting to watch besides me driving around talking about what I want to do and complaining about the weather. Thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Jen, and this is Views from My Backyard.